Hello there. Welcome back to the 92nd episode of Under the Radar. Very happy to be back. Happy New Year to those of you who are joining me here in the early days of 2026. I was reflecting recently on the fact that I am now in the 6th year of this series. Would have thought I would have gotten it done sooner, or at least made it to 100, but I'm getting very, very close. So pleased to be here. I'm hoping certainly to wrap up the last, remaining 9 episodes here in 2026, and then expound on a different journey throughout episodes 100 and beyond. Anyway, before I break into today's episode, I would like to mention, once again, I have the red tape available in my web store, as I have mentioned in the last, probably, I think, about 5-6 episodes. So that is available. It's a 27-track mixtape, dystopian satire kind of vibe of slave to servant material. I also, though, since this came out in 2025, I also had a release out in 2005 that I covered in one of the previous episodes of Dorm Life's debut full-length, It's Not Me, It's You. And then I had another release in 2015 that I'm going to be covering in the future, but I had never pressed this release. And I decided for my birthday, let's just do it. So it's the 10-year anniversary of the only soundtrack that I've ever composed a score to for a film. And I made this back in my campground days when I was managing a KOA in upstate New York and had a wild podcast, but that story will come in the future. But anyway, this is the Illusion of Money soundtrack. It's for Leonard Ulrich's second film, which is available in my web store on DVD. It was banned from YouTube for a while, and recently he got a lift and got it back up. Yeah, I'm pleased to finally have the score available on CD. I only did 500 copies of this, so this is now available in my web store at samswansonmusic.com/store. I also made it available on my Sam Swanson Bandcamp page, where you can buy it. Like I said, there's only 500 copies. I think about 300 of them are spoken for, because I'll be sending them out to Canary Cry listeners that are part of the supply drop. So really, in reality, there is only about 200 for sale in my web store right now. So this actually contains the very first Slave to Servant song, Baptized in Credit, which I include on the Singularity collection, which is also available on my web store. Yeah, I was hired to do this project back in, I think, 2014, and then I released it in 2015, thinking that the film would come out sooner, and it took a whole 5 years for the film to get done. So, timing's everything, right? So here we are, my 2005 release, 2015 release, and 2025 release, the red tape. The only digit, the 5s, that I've managed to release 3 decades of material. It's kind of cool. Anyway, that all being said, feel free to pick that up in my web store. Really appreciate your support. I've been getting some orders for some things, and I very much appreciate that as a full-time musician. And without further ado, I think it's time that I bust into today's episode. However, normally I hold something up, right? Normally I have something in my hand to represent, the release that I'm covering. And today's episode does not have any physical representation whatsoever. It's a band that I covered a couple times in the past, in various incarnations, and I guess I brought them up on another episode. So let's go ahead and back up for a second. I covered a band called Retro Morning, episode 15 of Under the Radar. And that band, when they disbanded, they became a band called This Is Me Smiling. And then I covered their debut full-length in episode 57. And then in episode 80, I covered the Alarm Comp, which was one of my releases in the ACR catalog. And I released an exclusive demo B-side that never made any of their 2 full lengths. And so today I'm going to cover the second and final full length by This Is Me Smiling, entitled Only Uphill. Again, I have nothing to represent it because the band just dropped it on Bandcamp, I think in 2010, late 2010. So yeah, it was November of 2010. They just dropped an entire full length on Bandcamp. The album was self-released and it's self-produced mainly by Dan Duzinski, the singer and songwriter of the band. I know that I've covered some other releases that Dan has produced in the past, such as June's first EP and Duval's Christmas album, Oh Holy Night, on Asian Man Records. But there was additional tracking by Sean O'Keefe and mixing for this record. And of course, I've covered so many releases by Mr. Sean O'Keefe: Fall Out Boy, Motion City Soundtrack, Spitalfield, Split Habit, Knockout, 504 Plan, etc., etc., etc. So here we are today, mentioning Mr. O'Keefe again. And like the first record, this one definitely has a quality of witty lyricism. You know, it's just chocked with humor. And that's Dan, right? Dan just has he's great with the pen. And it's not your typical songwriting either. It's more like They Might Be Giants or something. It's what it reminds me of. Some of the things that really stand out on this record that are a lot different. One, it's a lot more stripped down. It feels more singer-songwriter at times because there are a lot of songs with very little percussion or no percussion. While there are full band songs that definitely rock on the record, it doesn't rock the same, right? Because the first album had Mike Falemli of Smoking Popes and Alkaline Trio on drums, and it was a different style. The guitar tones were a different beast altogether, and this one just feels more retro to me. You know, it feels like Steely Dan and Radiohead combined or something. I don't know, early Radiohead. Yeah, it's just mellower. There's even some, because, you know, Dan uses a lot of jazz chords, which I'm a big fan of. There's maybe even, dare I say, and I wouldn't compare it lyrically at all to John Mayer, but like stylistically, there's some of that there. And I know there's another term that I could probably use to describe this band is Sophisti-Pop. You know, it's just sophisticated pop songwriting. It's great. And so with all that being said, again, this is a digital release, nothing to represent it. You can go to thisismesmiling.bandcamp.com and go get yourself a copy of it digitally. I would recommend it. It's totally under the radar. And this was right before I ducked out of Chicago. Like I was about to move to New York, and I already had my plans. So when this dropped, I was not expecting it to drop, and it was a nice, pleasant surprise and almost a nice sort of parting gift as I exited the Midwest and went east. And kind of a consolation prize too, it feels like. It's just a really good record, and in retrospect, like I do think it's slightly more interesting than the first one. It has a lot more variety, and you know, it's like night and day difference. You know, I hate to use the comparison again, but you know, maybe like Dr. Manhattan again, like they made their self-titled album and then they did the Jam Dreams record, and it was a totally different beast. So this is very much like that. You know, it does feel like almost a different band, even though it's not a different band. I mean, I guess the drummer is different, but anyway, I'm blabbing. I'm going off. Let's go ahead and get into some of the songs on here. The band, as early as I can remember, they played a couple of these songs live. And along with the song Andy Apathy, which made the Alarm Comp, as I had discussed before, episode 80, you can check that out. However, Andy Apathy did not make this album, and so I feel, again, very special to have included that on the compilation CD, which I have a few in my web store. So without further ado, let's get into one of my absolute favorite This Is Me Smiling songs, and the second song off of this album. This song is entitled Nothing to No One.
Once a long time ago, it was easy to laugh and the days went slow. They kind of bounced along, took you by the arm. Then came the nothing to no one, something to someone. You're nothing to no one, you're something to someone. You're nothing to no one, something to someone. Nothing to no Once a long time ago, it was easy to sleep and the nights went slow. They sort of coasted by, took your cares away. Then came the stressful thoughts about paying the bills for the stuff you bought and all the fancy bills catch you through the day. You're nothing to no one, something to someone. You're nothing to no one, say something to someone. Nothing to no one, something to someone. Nothing to no one, say something to someone.
That's a serious banger. I mean, I remember watching them play that live and just enjoying it so thoroughly. Nothing to no one. Wow. And you got Sheldon popping up on the vocals a little more too on this record. That's something to be noted. You'll notice that in this next song that I'm going to play. This is a completely different vibe. Again, stripped down, very minimal percussion, and a lot of ambience maybe in this one. But again, Sheldon takes away the vocals on this one with a song entitled All I Wanted Was a Cigarette.
If you want a statement, baby, I'll make one simple and clear. You love me all when I need you. No unspoken English. All I wanted was a cigarette. Exposing all myself to I spent a lot of money so you could take my dignity from me. Not cool. So I hopped on a bike to see my parents as I feel like less a fool. Et l'emporter, c'est un jeu harder to speak than to understand. Well, I'm glad that you're gone. I'm sure I'll enjoy this now. Songs on
kind of a trippy song, you know, way different for this band. All right, so I really go back and forth between my favorite song being Nothing to No One on this record and then this next song. And this song is entitled The Movies.
I was given the chance to redeem myself for a recent series of mistakes, but did not take it, realizing immediately afterward that doing nothing was in itself another mistake. It made me wonder if I'd ever break this pattern, cause I'm starting to harbor some exponential doubts. I'll end up living in a basement apartment like a hermit and get pissed off when I'm forced to go out. So I laid my head down, started dreaming of you in a compassionate light. I was helping you out, you were holding me tight. I don't wanna deal with the backlash from the truths that I hid. Gonna be another day at the movies playing on my list. Cancel out all the bad karma I must have created over the years, figuring it may be the best way to quell the impending doom feeling I get in the morning. Although it could have been attributed to drinking, smoking, apathy, catastrophe all over the world and bad nutrition. Either way, I was really inspired to one day do some nice things or help somebody or try to love someone. So I laid my head down, started dreaming of you in a compassionate light. I was helping you out, you were holding me tight. I don't wanna deal with the backlash from the truths that I hid. Gonna be another day at the movies playing on my eyelids. I laid my head down, started dreaming of you in a compassionate light. I was helping you out, you were holding me tight. I don't wanna deal with the backlash from the truths that I hid. It's gonna be another day at the movies playing on my lids.
Such a beautiful song. The arrangement on the guitar, again, I think that's more that, I hate to say John Mayer, but maybe some of the early John Mayer, you know, Sophisti-Pop kind of vibes, going much more singer-songwriter. And I believe there's footage of them demoing that at Pachyderm Studios when they went and they only walked away with Andy Apathy, which I included on the Alarm Comp, as I said. Great song. Excellent song. Well, as much as I could play a ton of the other songs on the record, I'd really like to just end with the closing track on this song. Very unique song, and the chords are just so beautiful in this song. So let's go for it. The conclusionary song on the record, entitled Manage to Manage Yourself.
with tiny thrills, a bit of satisfaction. Started off all organized, realized I'm bored as hell. The comfort of the night beside myself. It's like the best thing perspective can't see. If you can manage to manage yourself through all the sickness and optional health, if you can pick your feet up when you walk, smile when you talk, if you can handle the next couple months, strike down the panic you've had it, because your changing moods are slowly changing you.
What an epic ending to a record. I really encourage you to go check some more of these songs out. It's a banger. I think it is one of those albums that really grows on you the more you listen to it, the more you listen to the lyrics, the more you feel out those melodies, because they're so unexpected, like just different, very experimental. It takes a lot of skills to put that together, like to put these melodies together and the lyrics and everything. It's just really one of the best bands I ever heard in Chicago. And hey, who would have thought, like when I got into Retro Morning, that they would morph into this beast. And they haven't quit making music. They later go on to be in a band called Gold Motel with Greta of the Hush Sound, who I mentioned in the past. I'm not sure what else Dan has been up to, but I would imagine that he's still somehow composing, even if just for himself. And Sheldon is just equally talented as Dan G's on the keys. So yeah, I don't have anything again to represent this, but go to Bandcamp. Go to thisismesmiling.bandcamp.com. Download it. If you want to find anything on the band other than maybe their first album physically, you can go into my web store and you can find This Is Me Smiling's sticker to promote their first album. And I do have a couple of their posters available too from the original album that I covered in the past. And in other news, I again have this lovely new CD, The Illusion of Money soundtrack, score composed by yours truly, Samuel Peter Swanson. There are 15 listed tracks on here. One is a Slave to Servant song to close it out. However, what's cool about this is the opening track to the film, which is track 1, Monetary Illusions, was actually a track that I had to go back and forth with the director on, and he chose to cut all the strings out of the arrangement that I came up with. And I was a little disappointed, but after seeing the film and the opening scene to it and how it was going to sort of be the background, it made a lot of sense to me why he didn't want the strings, and I'm happy with his decision. However, I found my original version, and I went to Dan Precision recently, and I had him just mix it like the rest of the score, because Dan Precision mixed this entire album. And so what I did was I replaced track 1 with my, if you will, my director's cut version. And then I have a 16th track, I believe, on here that's hidden, and that is the film version of Monetary Illusions. So anyway, once again, feel free. My birthday's coming up. I got about 200 of these available in my web store. Would love to sell one to you or to anyone you know if you like ambient, electronic, and score symphony kind of music. Just something to listen to. Feel free to purchase The Illusion of Money in my web store. Also, once again, the red tape is available for purchase, and also for just streaming on Bandcamp. I have other news that I'll be talking about soon. I'm wrapping up a record right now with my new band called Take Over the World, featuring Aaron Tate of Minus the Bear, or X Minus the Bear. He has been out of the band for about 10 years, but he played on all of their albums except for the last album, Voids, and I believe the live record. I don't think he played on that either. But he and I are crafting a cover record, which I've done before with Handsome Young Ladies, but this is a lot different. We're trying to really get in touch with like the funk and everything, the soul. And so I'm really looking forward to dropping like a 10 to 11 track record this coming year with him involved, and then we will start writing our own album. But this one is entitled Focus on the Mission. We just released a single off of it called I Like It, which is a DeBarge cover. You can find Take Over the World on all the streaming platforms. We have 2 songs. We appreciate you going to check all that out, and I should be back very soon with another episode. So I hope you're having a wonderful winter thus far, and thank you for your time.